Top private equity firms, TPG, KKR and Oaktree, converged on Hong Kong this week in search of deals and capital. This is Asia Today on the Wall Street Journal Digital Network. I'm Alison Tudor, and I'm joined by Joseph Ferrigno, Managing Partner of AMCG Partners based in Hong Kong.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Joseph, for joining us today. You and I have been going to this conference for many years now. What did you think of the atmosphere here compared to previous boom years, or is now the boom in Asia?
No, I feel that people are much more worried now than really in the past conferences that I've attended. And the reasons are obvious. You know, what's happening in Europe right now, nobody knows what is the outcome going to be, what kind of reverberation there might be in the financial system. So I think people are very cautious now compared to before.
Well, I noticed a lot of fundraising going on the sidelines of the conference. What's the relationship now between private equity and their investors? Is the boot on the other foot now? Investors more demanding?
You know, and rightly so. Investors are more demanding. You know, there have been a lot of changes in performance, and the environment is different. And most of these are very sophisticated institutional investors who want to participate in the growth in Asia and the potential profitability here, but they want to do it much more cautiously now than before. So they're much more careful about selecting fund managers. So a lot of that talk was challenges that they brightly gave to people like us.
I took there was a lot of concern about Europe, and in the keynote speakers, and we had Providence's Nelson saying that if a bank goes down, it could be 100 times the impact of Lehman. We had J.C. Flowers saying, well, probably the Eurozone will hang together, but there's a real possibility it won't, in which case he was keeping a lot of powder dry for potential deals. What did you take away from the conference on Europe?
Well, this conference was an excellent opportunity to hear the thoughts and opinions of practitioners in the global industry, global private equity industry. And I was very concerned, really, to hear these people who are so experienced expressing a lack of confidence in the outcome of the political and economic and financial problem solving, And so, I think that it's not likely that the financial system is going to collapse, but what could happen if there is a severely damaged European bank, what could happen is that repricing of assets would occur, and that has a follow-on domino kind of an effect that could lead to further falls in confidence, withdrawal of new investment, and a vicious kind of a cycle could occur. But over time, what will happen is that as prices adjust, then investors will come in at lower prices to take advantage of new opportunities.
Another thing I picked up on was KKR's Mr. Kravis, talking about Japan. Now, we've seen private equity trying to do deals there for many years, and it's been hard and slow work. But he seemed to feel now was the time. Things were changing in Japan and opportunities were opening up for private equity. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, and it's anecdotal, so don't take it all to the bank, but I'm starting to see some signs of change. I'm seeing it in certain companies, and I'm certainly seeing it in a number of the banking institutions, that they really do want to change.
I do. I think he's insightful on that. And the reasons are that there are changes, important changes going on in Japan. There are younger people who are becoming empowered with roles of responsibility, both in commerce, in business, as well as in politics. And they're much more aware that they've got to adapt to the rest of the world much more than they have before. And so I think their responsiveness, and I think Kravis mentioned in his comments that they're working on a deal, and there was a very rapid response by a potential Japanese partner with them. Remember that?
Yes.
So I've seen that too in our work in Japan. And we are supported actually by some leading Japanese institutional investors. We haven't yet invested, but we're on the cusp now of investing in Japan,
Oh,
and I'm
exciting.
delighted. You know, the Japanese are very innovative. They're very disciplined. They're very committed to what they do. Yes, they make mistakes like all of us do, but they have so much to offer the rest of the world. China probably in particular because of the proximity, and the basic cultural background is quite similar. So I am quite confident, I agree with Travis, that there are now likely to be good opportunities for private equity type investors in Japan.
Turning to some of the predictions I heard at the conference, I was very interested to hear TPG's Coulter predicting that in the year 2020, the conference that we've had this week in Hong Kong will actually take place in the depths of China in Chongqing. Another prediction came from Carlyle's Rubenstein, talking about the democratization of private equity, predicting that the man on the street will eventually be able to invest in private equity funds. What did you feel about that? What's your own thoughts on the future?
Well, taking the latter first, I don't agree with Rubenstein. I think that private equity investment vehicles have higher risk than other types of investments, and that they really only should be available to experienced, sophisticated investors. Regarding Chongqing as being the potential base for the ABCJ conference, the annual conference, no, I don't think so. I think Hong Kong will continue to be the financial center, and that's where it will take place. But there will be a conference in Chongqing that we'll all want to go to.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Joseph Ferrigno, Managing Partner of AMCG Partners based in Hong Kong. This is Alison Tudor for Asia Today.
Thank you, Alison.